Keith, tell me about the first video you ever worked on.
The first video I ever worked on was Video Killed the Radio Star for the Buggles. I'd been aware of pop promos for the past year, and I'd been hanging around the sets watching specific director Russell Mulcahy direct them. But one day he came back and said, "Could you listen to this track?" And I did. And the first impression I got was of a girl sitting on a beach playing with a radio. And Russell loved that idea and used that then to develop his own ideas from. So realistically, while the first video I ever worked on was that, it was only really the opening image that I contributed to it.
And tell me about other artists that you've been working with or you did work with. Tell me about that.
Well, Video Killed the Radio Star led to Russell asking me to work on a few other tracks for him, and that ended up in the UK with Spandau Ballet, Electric Light Orchestra, 10cc, and eventually Elton John, who we were commissioned to do a video album for, which we did. We actually produced it. It was about 9 or 10 tracks, but unfortunately the record was stiffed, and so the video album never really got seen.
And amongst those artists, you also did stuff with Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience with Bonnie Tyler.
Well, that came about when I'd been basically working with Russell on videos exclusively, and he then went off to do a feature film in Australia. So I decided it was time to set sail for Hollywood to seek fame and fortune, and that was about 82. And around 84, after establishing myself as a video conceptualist, coming up with freelance work. I'd been offered freelance work from the other companies there. The request came through to come up with a concept for Holding Out for a Hero for Bonnie Tyler. And that was quite a mad song. It's very, very fast. And the only way I could think of containing it was to set it at the Grand Canyon. Also, because I'd never been to the Grand Canyon, I thought it would be a good idea to set videos in places I'd always wanted to see. So my first encounter with Bonnie was when I went down to the set of Solid Gold, where she was performing, and while waiting for her to appear, I heard this voice coming around the corner. "So where's this Welsh boy I've heard about then?" Well, that led on to being with her at the Grand Canyon and nearly blowing her off the edge, because I didn't realise that if you stand on the edge of the Grand Canyon in a big white frock, if a helicopter goes overhead with the camera, it's going to create an updraft of air, and the dress just swelled up, and off the edge she nearly went.
And tell me about the time that you met Michael Jackson.
He was probably the first major star I met when I went out to America in 82. He had an album called Thriller about to come out, and I was asked to come up with concepts for Billie Jean and Beat It, and I did, and I had to go up to his house to pitch them to him, which was a unique experience, because at this time he wasn't mega famous, he wasn't world famous or anything, but he's famous for being the Jackson 5, and that led to not getting the concept accepted, but going down to the set to see what had been, and him coming over to me and chatting, and eventually E.T.ing me, which is...
What do you mean by E.T.ing?
Well, you know what happened at the end of E.T. with Elliot and E.T., where he put his hand on his finger on his forehead. That's what E.T. That's what Michael Jackson did to me. He actually, said, "Can I touch your forehead?" Excuse me? "Can I touch your forehead?" "Yeah, all right." So he did. And then only years later I realised I'd been E.T'd by Michael Jackson.